was still a fun one there. And then now, with the dues given to our good holy cow friend, comes the question once more. Do we wish to jump in from the top here? I mean, if we take a look, what kind of character do I feel like potentially continuing onward with today? Let's switch over to caster now that it's been a hot minute. In fact, like a Demonspawn caster is generally up there for me. Would probably end up going with Sif and try to knock that off of our list. And I'm always torn on a lot of the gods, and you know, I've already pulled the trigger on quite a few of them that fall into this category, but there are a lot of gods that I really enjoy, and so there's a temptation there to save them for the very end. And I do kind of wish I'd done that with like Gozag, for example, but at the end of the day, they're all gonna need to be won eventually, so maybe I shouldn't beat myself up too much about it one way or the other. So we either jump in, I guess, with the same, another holy cow of sorts, Null that would likely be following Ashen Zari, or Demonspawn caster. And, you know, bonk our mic while we're at it for good measure. Perfect. Great job, me. Do you know what? Let's change things up here, shall we? Now, I guess this won't be our last caster either. We do eventually have to get a Necromancer run going, likely with Kiku and or Yured. So we'll see what the future holds in that regard. But for now, let's go Fire Elementalist. Just something nice and solid. One of our old favorites. And Desmondius. Sure, why not? Just throw a bunch of sounds together and see what sticks. Perfect. Well, heading back into the mix once more from the top. And spellcasting 8's probably a little bit low, but that's where I'll set it to for the time being, and we'll play with that as we go. Fantastic. Last but not least, we'll get that morgue file sent over, grab the seed, post that up for all you lovely folks who join along at home. See how you fare in the dungeon here. Fantastic. Well, no time like the present. Let's just jump right to it. Perfect way to start off the run. Immediate shaft into the floor below. Oh, and I've used up all my magic before our lizard buddy was even in sight. Just on fire at the moment. Great work, me. But ooh, we do get Irradiate off of our very first spellbook, and that is actually pretty huge in its own right. Very, very useful spell for us. And oof, just failed our 10% at a less than ideal moment, but should be fine in the long run. We'll just keep looping around. While we're still at these low magic levels, we may find some amount of struggle. But we'll get there eventually, folks. We'll figure it out for the greater good. Beautiful. Probably should go back and pick up like one of the daggers that we left behind. You know, something to have in hand, since our unarmed isn't exactly anything to be proud of. Ooh, we get metallic scales. I mean, that is a pretty decent start. Interesting. Our foxfires won't go through a teleport trap. I didn't really attribute that level of intelligence to them. Very short-sighted on my part, probably, but how about that? And I think I just failed 2 casts in a row. I guess 2 10% chances, not exactly the most odds-bending or odds-defying feat in existence, but still very interesting. If I go upstairs, it's not actually better for our flames, now that I think about it. There we go. That's slightly more preferable. Slap them with my feeble hands. Perfect. And hopefully that does enough work. Not quite. Need a little bit more magic. Oh my, this is just going to be a war of attrition that unfortunately we're currently losing. You have more regeneration than I'd like. This is where my forgetfulness when it comes to like learning new spells as they come online starts to burn us more than I would like. Perfect, because if we just had Scorch, that likely is not an issue whatsoever. So let's do so now. Learn some Scorch, fantastic. And back down we go, shall we? Not the smoothest start by any stretch. I'm gonna, for now, just put all the blame on the fact we just played a Minotaur. Regardless of that likely not being a very fair assessment of things at the end of the day, such as life. And need something to blame it on, otherwise it's just me. I don't want that on my shoulders. But okie dokie. Definitely going much smoother now. Okay, or still having malevolent traps hitting us left and right, but still not the end of the world by any stretch. Some Scorch action there, fantastic. And now before I forget, once again, let's put a dagger on, shall we? At least would have given us like a little bit more recourse against the earlier ribbon snake, worm thing. Beautiful. Throw out a few of those bad boys, and I mean, lots of water is definitely advantageous to us as long as I don't burn myself too badly in the scalding steam. Not too shabby here. And let's take another look in at spells here. You know, I've had more interest in experimenting with Inner Flame. I don't know if this will be the run for it. I kind of want to do so on like a summoner run where I can infuse my own summons with Inner Flames and send them off into the heat of battle. But I didn't realize we got quite lucky with a few other things here. Fireball, Irradiate, Orb of Destruction. We kind of have our work cut out for us. Already at the point where if we can just survive, that's the largest part of the battle kind of taken care of. Ooh. Let us definitely wield a Staff of Conjuration. Don't mind if I do. That will give us more power on even our Foxfires themselves. That is lovely. And try to find a position that actually works for us there. Fantastic. And last but not least, Amulet of Regeneration. I mean, this is what we were hoping for in our previous run, but I will gladly take that in the here and now. I mean, I probably should just retreat, but I have an unreasonable confidence in our ability to take you out, friend. Turns out it's even more unreasonable than I was originally thinking in my own head, but alas, we still would take them out. We get Hooves as our next upgrade here. Oh, and Fire Dragon Scales very early on, D3. I mean, almost no shot I can swap to those at any point in the near future, really, but it's on brand. Fire Elementalist. Go pure dragon mode on it here. But okie dokie. Decent little start to the run. Guess we don't really have the spell levels to learn much else, even if we did have some cursory interest. One thing I should potentially do is take a peek into Conjurations. We're trained up to 9. I mean, that's not horrible. I feel like I have a bit of a misrepresentation in my mind as to where we're at in this run, largely just due to the fact that we were just playing Minotaur a couple times in a row, and they just sprint through this early section of the game. So when I looked at my skills there, it came as a bit of a shock. But I guess I didn't even mention explicitly, we did get Menacing Magic Aura, so that is another huge mutation for us. pretty dang awesome, especially with our dagger. We can kind of combo that up to become a bit of a pseudo stabber here in the short term. Oh, I should learn Flame Wave as soon as I possibly can as well, now that I think about it. 36% failure rate is still too high, but again, I kind of just want to have that learned at some point here. There we go, we get the paralysis just in the nick of time. And let's learn Flame Wave so that as soon as it does become castable, we kind of already have it online and good to go. 21% failure rate on Volatile. Give me a moment. Oh, and now we have friends coming from above. That's not great. You know what? Let's dig into our magic pockets deep and early here. What I'm hoping for is a bit of paralysis action, please and thank you. Perfect. Just in the bear's nick of time there. Was glad that we ended up using the magic potion. I think that that was a pretty surefire death otherwise, but not too bad. And as long as, yeah, we have enough magic to just spam our way through Scorch, we can kind of take care of anything the dungeon throws our way. The throwing net from that knoll is pretty lovely as well. Thank you very much. I'm not actually sure what the menacing magic aura checks. I don't know if it is a willpower check. It definitely seems to be more of a flat percentage across the board, but I very easily could be wrong on that note front. But just Scorch you to Kingdom Come. Beautiful. An Amulet of Guardian Spirit. As much as it's nice to have some additional HP pool added on your squishy characters like this, I think it's a bit too much of a deal breaker just because our magic points are so important to us. Oh, as we hear a rush of water. Well, let's check our biggest stack now. Ooh, unfortunately, not ID scrolls. So we're going to be left in the lurch for at least slightly longer here. Okay. Invisible wizard right next to us. Not too much of an issue for us, fortunately. Still very distant, so I'm going to change gears here, switch directions, and maybe see if we can just get a bit of a closer sewer message over yonder. Fantastic. Okay, our stabbing, definitely not the most impressive showing. I mean, maybe not too unexpected. I also should be able to Flame Wave here. And just safely take care of all of you folks. Beautiful. And let's head into the swamp, shall we? Hello, friends. Yeah, if you want to stand on the water. In fact, maybe we save up our magic for some scarier enemies. The smoke... Sorry, I thought smoke because of the smoking potion we just picked up. What I should be going for there is that the poison stacks from our dagger are pretty dang good at dealing with the majority of enemies we come across. Oh, and that was a tiny, just itty bitty baby sewer, but not too shabby nonetheless. 6 Curari darts is fantastic to find. Very happy with that. Probably shouldn't go forward on the Orc Priest here, but I have an undue level of confidence, so we're gonna let it roll for the moment. Perfect, and all is well that ends well. Not too shabby. Yeah, getting the poison branded dagger this early on in the run, I think is a huge lifesaver for us. Should have potentially even earlier than now started to be a little more aggressive with using our dagger instead of burning through all of our magic points immediately. I know there's always the temptation, of course, to get the paralysis stack because it's fun, but a good blend is probably the way to go at the end of the day here. Fantastic. Oh, definitely head back into a slightly safer configuration. There we go. And poison up any beetles we can find for sure. Oh, yikes. Well, let's take you kids on a little bit of a journey, shall we? Fantastic. I'm gaining an undue level of confidence by how much I'm tab fighting and not really losing health. Like, at 4 armor class, I don't know what the heck is going on and how it's kind of just working out for us, but it is, and I'm not really wanting to complain too much, game. You could see it in your heart and soul to just give us a bit of an easy avenue in life here, at least for the time being. I would very much be a big fan of that, I would say. What was that dagger? Just a +3 dagger, probably not good enough to make a change in the world quite yet. I guess the 17 evasion is probably part of it, now that I think about it for even a moment. In fact, that's probably quite a large part of our continued overall success here. Let's blast you, my friend. Beautiful. Now that all of our starting book spells are fully castable and online, I think we'll be in a pretty decent boat. Ooh, for the near future, cold and fire resistance, bit of sea invisible. That is a wonderful ring. Love to see it. I think we'll leave it off for now. It's kind of tempting to stick with the evasion, just because it has been serving us so well. This is probably not the best way to handle the situation. Stop, drop, and roll. Get some movement going. Fantastic. Well, okie dokie. That is D6. I mean, still no gods. So hopefully we get that coming our way soon. I also don't know why none of the steam seems to be doing nearly as much damage as I've been expecting. When we've been fighting near water and I'm creating steam clouds, I definitely have concerns because of, you know, it's early game. We're pretty squishy. We're not exactly well suited to be dealing with it ourselves. Much like our foe compatriots here, but I guess kind of been working out for the moment. And there we go. That's a bit more how I expect Prince Ribbit encounters to go. Not like the absolute nightmare fuel that it ended up being somehow on our previous character that was meant to be actually just way more defensible than this one. But I guess it's funny how everything shakes out sometimes.